You know, a school trip, it's supposed to be all about adventure, right? Making memories with your friends. But for three students heading to Shimla, this trip was about to take a serious turn. A broken down bus, a detour in the middle of nowhere, and what started as a quest for popularity would become an absolute nightmare.
And this quote, wow, if only these three friends had known this, that just hangs over everything, doesn't it? It's this chilling piece of foreshadowing that hits you right away. You can't help but ask, what didn't they know? What tiny piece of information, what local legend could have actually saved their lives?
You see, every tragedy really starts with a simple choice. And for these friends, it wasn't a bad one, not really. It was just a dangerous plan, cooked up because they wanted a little fame, you know? A great story to tell when they got back to school.
So let's break down how this all got started. It's nightfall and their bus to Shimla breaks down. By 8 p.m., the teachers have decided, okay, we're staying at this super remote hotel, surrounded by forest, by the way. A couple of hours later, our three friends, Ayush, Aman, and Rohan, are looking out their window and they spot this mysterious lake. And that's when the idea hits. By 11 p.m., they've got a plan. They remember how some other kids became school legends for a similar stunt. So they decide, we're going to sneak out, get some photos, and come back as heroes. I mean, it sounds like the start of a fun adventure story, right?
And really, their plan was so simple, almost naive. They weren't looking for trouble. They just wanted to sneak out, snap a few cool pictures by the lake, and be back in their beds before anyone even noticed they were gone. What could possibly go wrong?
And this is where things take a much darker turn. The second they step off the hotel grounds and into those woods, the whole vibe of their adventure just shifts. It goes from hopeful to completely harrowing. You know how things can look so different from far away? From the safety of their hotel room, that lake looked like it was just a short walk. But once they were actually on the ground, in the dark, that forest became a total maze. An hour goes by and they're no closer. The fun is just gone, and the cold is really starting to set in. And then you get that classic moment, the one you see in every modern horror story. They pull out their phones, and what do they see? 0 bars. No signal. Nothing. Just like that, they're completely cut off. Alone. Their only lifeline to the outside world is just gone. So they make the smart call. They decide to give up and head back. Ayush and Aman are leading the way, using their phone flashlights to cut through the dark. After walking for a bit through the trees, they stop for a second to check on their friend. And he's just gone. He's vanished into the pitch-black forest without making a sound. That quiet, which was maybe a little peaceful before, is suddenly filled with pure panic.
They start calling his name, and they hear the strange noise. They follow it, and what they find is just deeply weird. It's Rohan, but he's acting so strangely. He's on his knees, frantically digging a hole in the ground with his bare hands.
They call his name again, and he turns around. And this is the first real moment of pure terror. His eyes aren't his eyes anymore. They are just solid black pits. This is not their friend Rohan. Something is terribly, horribly wrong. The whole situation just explodes. Aman reaches out to help, touches Rohan's shoulder, and whatever is inside Rohan shoves him back with this inhuman strength. Then Rohan just collapses. Ayush rushes over to him, but then he looks up at Aman, and his blood just runs cold because now Aman has those same terrifying solid black eyes. So the entity, whatever it is, has just jumped from one person to the next. And now it's leading them on this terrifying chase, deeper and deeper into the forest, right toward the heart of all this darkness. Before they can even figure out what to do, the possessed A-man just bolts. He's running with this unnatural speed toward a dark shape between the trees. It's an old crumbling house, a place that looks like it's been abandoned for decades. And, against their better judgment, Ayush and the now recovered Rohan run in after him. The scene inside is something out of a nightmare. Their friend Aman is just floating, suspended in the air, totally unconscious, and there's this grotesque old woman talking to him. Her skin is hanging off her face, her hair is this white, wispy mess, and her eyes are the same solid black pits they saw in their friends. The boys just turn and run for their lives. But as they look back, they see the old woman coming after them. And she's not walking, she's scuttling down the stairs on all fours, like a spider or some kind of insect. It's a truly horrifying image. So they escape the house, but their panicked escape only leads them from one horror straight into another, to a final, tragic confrontation right at the water's edge.
And in this moment of just cruel, twisted irony, running for their lives leads them right to where they wanted to go all along. They burst through the trees and stumble right onto the shore of that moonlit lake. But before they can even catch their breath, they both fall into the water.
The water doesn't feel right. It feels like something is pulling them down. Ayush manages to fight his way to the shore, gasping for air. He turns around just in time to see Rohan get dragged under the surface, his eyes wide with terror. And then, he's gone. The shock of it all is just too much, and Ayush collapses unconscious.
The immediate horror of the night might be over, but the explanation for it, and the grim reality of what actually happened, is really only just beginning to unfold.
Ayush wakes up, and somehow, miraculously, he's back in his hotel bed. For just a second, he might have thought it was all a terrible dream. But then he looks out the window. Police cars are everywhere, and on the ground are two figures covered by white sheets. His friends, Aman and Rohan. It was all real.
Now, the police might officially call this a tragic accident, but the locals, they know the real story. The legend and the reality are pretty much the same thing. There was a woman who lived peacefully in that old house. Villagers murdered her because they wanted her land. They threw her body into the lake, and now her vengeful spirit haunts those woods, claiming the lake as her own.
So what the boys stumbled into, it was this unbreakable, vicious cycle. A brutal murder creates a vengeful spirit, and that spirit now preys on anyone who trespasses on her land after dark. They had no idea they were walking into a place filled with so much tragedy and unending revenge.
And that's where the story leaves us, with this really chilling thought. Because the forest is still there, the lake is still there, and you have to assume that the spirit of that old woman, she's still waiting. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Who's going to be the next unsuspecting traveler to hear the story just a little too late?